All right. A round of applause. We are back. It is From the Margins with James Auffant. If you all don't know yet, James Auffant is our star of this show, of course. He is an attorney here in the beautiful city, the city beautiful, Orlando, Florida. Welcome back, Jimmy.
Welcome back. It's good to be back.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. It's it's what September 4th, and the summer has been fast and hectic. And we both served on the mid decennial redistricting committee, and that has come to a close. Congratulations on your map moving forward.
Thank
Uh,
you.
our audience, I'm sure you're aware of what's been going on with the mid decennial redistricting advisory committee. So stay tuned. September 16th, if I remember correctly, the Orange County Board of Commissioners and Mayor Demings will review the maps and perhaps maybe make a decision at that meeting on which of the two maps will move forward. So saying that, let's just jump into it.
Go for
Trump
it.
Trump wants to send the National Guard to Chicago, and he just recently doubled down, Jimmy. I've got a little story to talk about in relation to this, but I'll let you go ahead and speak.
Look, there's more crime in New Orleans than there is in Washington, D.C. Okay? But the Speaker of the House is the congressman there, and
Yes.
it's a Republican place. And we're not going to say that in Republican areas there's crime because that's not something that happens with Republicans. It only happens in Democrats' cities. Has Chicago had a share of fame of crime? Yes, it has. And let's put it properly, Chicago is one of the five largest cities in the United States.
Yeah.
New York, LA, Chicago, oh my God,
Uh-oh.
Miami.
Jimmy?
Okay. And the fifth one escapes me. These cities, with all due respect, there was a thing called Miami Vice because it was so bad how Miami was.
Oh,
Okay,
the drugs.
and still, but we're gonna send troops down there. Well, no, because we don't have to send troops down there because everything in Florida is perfect and hunky dory. Well, that is the problem. The problem here is very simple. Uh, we just have the president receiving today his biggest slap in the face, which was an appellate court saying to him, hey, stop it here. The Constitution is clear. The thing to impose tariffs belongs to Congress. It does not belong to the Secretary. And the law that you're quoting that there's an emergency does not apply to this. We're not in war. We're not in anything like that. And this bullshit of what you call trade deficit is bullshit. It is not an emergency. It's existed since the beginning of time because basically, for those of you who don't understand, trade deficit is I buy from you more than you buy from me. So you have a trade deficit with me. Or if I buy more from you and you don't buy anything from me, there's a trade deficit. Well, my barber, I pay him. My guy who does the yacht, I pay him. My doctor, I pay him. The guy in the restaurant that I go to eat, we talked about that before. I buy from him, and he doesn't buy anything from me. For that matter, Target, Walmart, and all the other stores that I buy, Amazon, I buy from them, and they don't buy anything. That's a trade deficit.
Mhm.
Does that need mean to that I'm going to go and put tariffs on other countries so they buy more from me? No. Why? Because the countries don't pay for the tariffs. We do. Tariffs is a tax on us. So the appellate court said, you don't have the power to do this. You need to stop. He's continuing while he goes to the Supreme Court because, in his opinion, they're going to rule in his favor. This is where I have a problem. They just finished a test, Quinnipiac, which is quite reliable,
Yes.
says that 48% of the U.S. population still trust the United States Supreme Court. And strangely, this is where I find it fascinating. The majority of those are Democrats, not Republicans.
Yeah.
Republicans still, even though they control the Supreme Court, they don't trust them. This is a crisis that the Supreme Court has. A lot of people think that their rulings have been politically, that they're
Right.
conservative and they rule in favor of the conservative. If the Supreme Court says that the president has this power, with all due respect, that number from 48 will go down to 28, like that. The Constitution is clear. The power of putting tariffs in the U.S. Constitution belongs to the Congress. There is no way that the president can claim, hey, there's an emergency, so I'm taking over a power from the legislator. It's never been precedent, so it cannot be done. So, with all due respect, the Supreme Court, if they're smart, are going to say, hey, there's no reason to review this. Let the appellate courts stand. If they do that, which they can, if they do that, then Trump will be in trouble. So at this point, people, if you haven't felt it, I'm not sure in which country you live,
Mhm.
but everything is more expensive. As a matter of fact, today, I'm not going to go last week, I collect stamps.
Correct.
And there were some stamps that I wanted that were in Germany. And the guy said to me, look, I would not want to sell this to you because you're going to have to pay almost $100 just of tariffs. And I had to say to the guy, okay, yeah, forget it. And the other thing is that if you buy outside of the United States, the dollar
Right.
shrunk a lot. So a euro, what you used to buy euro more or less this way, this is about, and don't go into the pound because it's gone. So realistically, things are getting more expensive. You went to Dollar Tree at my request. There's nothing left for $1.25. Everything is $1.50 now, and others are $1.75. And you cannot buy aluminum wrapping paper for less than $1.75 in Dollar Tree. If and don't go to into Publix because it's $2.25. People. I'm talking about aluminum foil. I'm not talking about something that we don't use. Aluminum foil that we put
Right.
our food in and cook in and all that. It's too expensive. Why? Because we pissed off the Canadians. Well, we didn't piss them off. They don't care. They sell to us the same price, but we have to pay the tariff that the president imposed on us. The other thing that this decision says, and we have to listen to this, there is no truth to his claim that he's doing this, A, because of a trade deficit, and two, to bring back manufacturing here. And let me give you an example.
Okay.
India had a 25%, but the president put an additional 25% on it because he was buying oil from Russia.
Correct.
Okay, just as a sanction to India. What happened last week? Something
Well,
that they did not want to see, but it was there. Putin,
Bodie,
China, and India
that's right.
forming an alliance.
And that was something that Trump did not want to happen.
Oh, I don't see him doing anything to avoid it. And let's talk this way. Russia doesn't have that much of a population, but
Right.
China and India are the two largest countries in the world in
Right.
population. Not talking finances, but the largest army right now is not the
China.
U.S. It's China.
Yep.
The best equipped army in the world is not the U.S.
That's
It's
correct.
China.
That's correct.
People wise, sending a couple of million people, soldiers, to war for India, piece of cake.
Yes.
No problem. Okay? And China saying, well, you might not have the weapons. We'll give you the weapons. Now you have those two deciding to fight us. We can't win that. Whoa!
Sure.
Population wise. And okay, so basically, these terrorists have had some severe consequences to the national economy and to the world's safety. So yeah,
Jimmy,
it prevails. Yeah.
the one ace up our sleeves as Americans, we are the consumer giants of the world. I mean, we're the largest consumers of the global economy. And so, and if I remember correctly, I think this was the Trump administration saying this, that we really don't buy a lot of stuff from India. However, in China, we do buy a lot of things from China. And however, again, if we turn off that spigot, the Chinese economy will suffer. So I see how China's positioning itself to create better alliances with a billion person economy like India's. And then, of course, Russia with the oil that they offer that sustains, China. Uh, it's this is complicated. This is very complicated. But
No,
however,
it's not complicated. It's things coming
okay,
out of the Trump administration, or either there's an idiot sitting behind that desk, or somebody who thinks that the population is an idiot. We cannot turn off the spigot from China. If we turn off the spigot from China, Amazon goes bankrupt
mhm.
because 80% of what Amazon sells comes from China. Dollar Tree, uh, Target, Macy's, all
Walmart.
these stores go under because not only, I'll give you an example. The other day, somebody said to me, do you realize that most of the hangers, if not all of the hangers that are used to exhibit clothes in the stores are made in China? They're not made here. So what? We don't have hangers, so we're not going to be able. The racks, China. Okay. The other day, somebody looked at me and said, "Well, uh, at least we don't get food from China." Well, I wouldn't go that far either. We
Mm,
do. And the truth is that we would have look the shirts that are sold in Kohl's. If you look at them, they all may come from China. If you look for the T-shirts, they come from China. Let me see. The pens come from China. The Scotch tape that we use doesn't come from the U.S. Come from China. The
yeah.
staples that we use come from China. I mean, there's so many things that when we hit rock bottom, is
Mhm.
that people do not understand this expression. Let me explain to you. When the industrials who control this country, it's not the politicians, the industrials who control this country said, hey, the bottom line is the most important thing. That's why I say hit rock bottom. They moved all the factories out just because the cost of production was cheaper.
Right.
They didn't care about anything else. Americans, you go into the store and look, I'm going to give you a little secret. California has producing some coffee. They found a way to produce some coffee. It's not that good, but they did.
Okay.
The pound of coffee coming from California costs approximately $28. The quality of the coffee doesn't justify it, but that's the cost of production.
Right.
And not and for the oh well 20 no. Let's understand. This is the cost of production. To that you
Yeah.
have to have the middleman, to that you have to have anything else. Starbucks has decided not to sell California coffee because they would have to charge $14 a cup. And nobody's gonna pay $14 for a cup of coffee that's not that great. Okay,
Exactly.
so
No.
uh, when people say, "Well, we could produce things here," I wanted to bring the thing of the coffee because we can't. We put a tariff on bananas. Oh, wait a minute, we don't produce bananas. So why are we charging them oh, because we buy more from them than they buy from us. Morons. Uh, and I'm calling them for what they are. So basically, at this point, we have pissed off every country in the world. Nobody trusts us. Nobody likes us. They wonder why we elected a moron as our president, and we are going to go into a world that we're not going to recognize. A world where India, instead of being our partner, is
Yeah.
China's partner. A world in which Europe is going to say, we cannot trust the United States of America. We're not going to do business with them anymore. We have to be self-reliant. A world where Canada says the same thing. We cannot trust the United States. We're going to have to do it on ourselves, or
Right.
associate ourselves with Mexico. South and Central America saying, we cannot trust the United States. We're going to have to rely on ourselves. Who's our partners going to be? We have none. Who are we going to do business with? We have pissed them all off. We have charged them to the max. We have called them idiots. We have said we're imposing this thing on you, and the way he talks evil of every country, we're wondering why they don't like us.
Right.
Can we isolate ourselves and be self-sufficient? No. No.
Can we have some parity with some of these countries, like China? I mean, I believe, and maybe there's some fact in this, that with as much as the American consumer has spent on Chinese goods, that we help build these modern cities like Shanghai and so forth and so on, and just all the beautiful development. We've helped created their industries. Again, I still would like me. Yeah, I would like for me to have a build your dream, a BYD car. Great cars, not available here in
Hold on.
America.
There's somebody at the door.
Okay, we'll pause. So, as I was saying, Jimmy, with there has to be some parity. We've helped build many of these economies overseas, whether it's China or Vietnam or Mexico. There's got to be some parity where um, we get a little something back. Where that middle ground is, that's a tough question. And that's above my pay grade.
We help nobody with nothing. This is the problem with the American population. We have to understand. Oreo went to Mexico and opened a factory to make money and hired people. You're right. But that was Oreo. That was Nabisco. That was not the U.S. government. That we are the ones who buy the products from them? Yes. But at the end of the day, the only thing we're doing for them is hiring people, and those people are making money. And yes, but it's not necessarily, and this is where it becomes even more frustrating, that these corporations, in order not to pay taxes, they open a corporation in China or in Mexico under their laws, and they open a factory and they take their products and they sell them in the United States. So
Right.
for all practical effects, they don't consider that we're doing them a favor at all. uh, they just, okay. Nabisco went and opened a factory here in Mexico, and they are producing Cameo cookies, Oreo cookies, this other cookies, and they're selling them worldwide to everybody, including the United States. Not only to the United States, but everybody. And that's and now it's no longer an American company; it's a Mexican company because it's registered. So the perception that it's us doing anything for them is one that we like to feel that they should feel, but they don't, because technically our government has done nothing other than right now say, hey, the hard things that you're working and getting paid to so you can sell worldwide, we're going to make it more difficult for you to sell in our country. But they should be appreciative of that. That is where I have a problem. The U.S. government has never helped China or anybody else. Now, in the American industrial world, yes, but the American industrial world is going there to make money.
Right.
And yes, they make money, but it's not the U.S. government. See, the world separates them one from the other. They're there, they make a product, and they
Right.
sell it worldwide. Give you an example. Philippines has factories that makes all kinds of medication, but it's not only sold in the United States, it is sold in other places of the world. So when people say we help build these cities, yes, but we were not alone. The products that are made there are sold the whole world. So basically, they could say the whole world helped us. So when people say, let's turn off the spigot, well, you can turn off the U.S. spigot. That's fine. And I would like to know. And this is where I heard somebody from the Philippines say, sure, stop buying our medications. And a lot of people are going to die. Hey, stop buying our medications. And a lot of people are going to go off their medications and are going to act really mental, and you're going to have a problem. Hey, yes, stop buying our medications, and your cholesterol is going to go to the new, you're going to get a heart attack and die.
Mm-hmm.
Look, turning off the spigot sounds like a possibility. Realistically, it isn't. We could stop eating? No. And that's why when you say food, all our cookies are not made in the U.S. Nabisco is down there. Mars is in Mexico too. So what I'm trying to say, when people tell me, turn off the spigot, you want to stop eating Snickers, you got to stop eating Skittles, no, you're not. Because you think in your mind to this day that thing's made in the United States. It's not. Are you going to stop eating Oreos? No. Okay. So what spigot are you going to turn off? Stop taking medications? Well, yeah, you're not going to do that one either. Are you going to stop using iPhones? Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Are you going to stop using Samsungs? No. So when people tell me, turn off the faucet, yeah. So what are you going to do? You going to start making refrigerators here? What? You're going to start making TVs here? What? You're going to start making monitors for your computers here? Hey, you're going to make the computer parts here? You haven't done that and you're not going to do it. Mm-hmm. So the reality is that boat has sailed and it's no way to return. Those of you who think, hey, we have some control over this. Yeah, you do. Stop buying the junk from China. Yes. The things you don't need.
Correct.
But that's not the biggest issue. The biggest issue here is basically you have allowed. See, most countries of the world control business. The United States is controlled by business. Whatever business wants to do, Congress said, sure, no problem. You can do it. Look, most countries in the world, in the good old days, telegraph, because it was so essential, they consider essential, was run by the government. Most countries in the world run electrical and water. We don't. We let that go to private industry, and they can charge whatever they want, and that's a free market, and that's fine. The same thing with medications. Medications here are more expensive than anywhere else. If you go to Mexico or you go to Costa Rica now, those of you who haven't been there lately, you go into Consumel, and there used to be that they had places for you to buy junkie. Those places have disappeared. There's hardly any souvenir shops in Consumel or in Mexico. I mean, in Tijuana or Laredo. You know what there is?
Pharmaceuticals or pharmacies.
And you get your medications, you go across the border. If you have a prescription, you bring them into this country and you have no problem. Okay? Or, to be quite honest, if you're white and you look serious, they don't even inspect you too much and they let you go through, because they can't inspect every car, because it would be impossible. So, what they're looking for are illegal drugs and guns. You don't carry either of them, you're good to go. Or my all-time favorite is that there's a guy in Texas who they made a report. He takes his thing from Walgreens.
Okay.
Goes down to Mexico. He fills them up, puts them in the Walgreens bottle. And when what's this? Oh, no, I got a prescription and I got this from Walgreens. I would spend a couple of days, so I took my medications with me. The guy, and every 3 months he goes down to Mexico and he takes the old or yellow bottle bills and he fills them up.
Yeah.
He has, the only way he was caught is that it had been 4 years since it was 24 and the bottle said 1920. So yeah, But what I'm trying to say, look, the days that we keep thinking that we can stop the spigot, no, we're paying double for our medications here than if you go into Mexico. And the same medication made by the same company. Bullshit. Okay. As a matter of fact, right now, the biggest industry in India and the Dominican Republic It's Americans going down there for operations.
Correct. Yes, that's
Why? Because
correct.
it's 10 times cheaper to go down there. As a
But
matter of
is it
fact,
reliable? That's the question. Are the surgeries reliable?
well, hey, there's
I
a
would
TV
question.
program of Miss a botch surgeries here in TV, and every time I see it, the botch surgeries were done in this country. So let's stop pretending that we don't fuck up
Okay,
here.
okay.
We fuck up here, and they fuck up down there. So it's no big deal, and it's kind of funny because uh, this is something that I did not know. You go to the
Okay.
Dominican Republic and use Botox, okay, which is
Okay. Yes.
and it's 10 times cheaper than doing it here in the United States, and
Mm.
it's the same Botox. So,
Wow.
so the thing is that it never ceases to amaze me that we're talking about, oh, we're going to turn off the spigot. We're not. We like to say we're going to, but we can't. The spigot is that's why they call it we're at the point of no return. That's why
Mm.
we say that we hit the bottom line. And we hit the bottom is because the bottom line was take everything out, have it go to some other country, and we produce it cheaper. And
Right.
that was not the Chinese, that was not the Koreans, that was not the Philippines, that was the industrial companies of the United States
Mm.
looking to make more money. They don't care about us. They never have, they never will. And right now, it's sad to say this, but you have the most corrupt government, including the House and the Senate and the presidency. And let's not go into the administration's people because they're all corrupt. This is the problem. They don't care about us. They care about how much money can they make and how to retain power. I'm going to ask you a question. Why has it been that no Republicans has criticized once Donald Trump?
Except for Representative Thomas Massey, but that's the Epstein issue. I I believe that I know that many of the Republicans who are in office now are in office partly because they have the support of Donald Trump. Donald Trump has pretty much created a Republican Party in his own image. And so I believe many of these Congress people, whether Democrat or Republican, they serve a different master than the voters. And for conservatives, they're going to support Trump for to stay viable, to stay relevant, to stay in office, and that's what I believe.
And I'm the only Democrat that I know of that is out there saying, hey, Democrats, you need to get rid of the consultants. Hey,
Mhm.
Democrats, you need to listen to the people. Hey, Democrats, you need to stop praying that the Republicans are going to fuck up and you're going to win the next election because they
Right.
fucked up and not because you are relevant or you're saying something important. Hey, Democrats,
Good point.
you need to stop pandering to certain groups because it's not going to happen. I find it interesting because a lot of people tell me that we the problem is going to be solved with tariffs or something else. The problem is going to be solved when we come to realization of two things. Democrats don't have a real plan.
Right.
They don't, and they have no way of even staying on course because they don't have a course. Sorry. Oh, they're staying on course. What course?
Hmm.
They don't have one. Republicans have a master, and their master is to say when things go wrong, blame the Democrats, and that's all they do.
Hmm.
Hey, when Biden was president, he okay. Who cares when Biden was president? What are you gonna do now? But
Correct.
people, they know that people will go that way because that's the way the training that they have. People, right now, you're gonna need somebody different. Right now, I'm gonna
Hmm.
ask the question to everybody. This is my question to you out there. Who's going to become the leader of the Democratic Party in 2028? And who's going to become leader of the Republican Party in 2028 because Trump cannot run and Trump might not be alive. So it's a question of what is the future of the party? Because right now, I can't think of any leadership that there is. Newsom's trying. Newsom's, you have too much baggage. You're not going to
Right.
win. So,
Yes, it does.
it's not going to happen. Uh, but realistically, it's still inside. Last week, we sat down and discussed there's no serious candidate for U.S. Senate in Florida. And we're in September. We are 11 months away from the primary. Not 2 weeks. Not 2 years. We're 11 months away. You should have, look, if it's true, and this is rumors, if it's true, Stephanie Murphy right now is running for mayor of Orange County.
Correct.
It is rumored that she has $2 million in her coffers.
Correct. Where is it?
People who said they're going to run for U.S. Senate in Florida as Democrats, none of them reached $10,000. Sorry, it's the truth. This is not. This is where we have a problem. The prayer of the Democrats is that the Republicans are going to fuck up so much that they're going to put a silver platter and they're going to win, and the Republicans believe that as long as they listen to Donald Trump, they will be elected and they will stay in power. So basically, there is no course for this country from either party. That's why there's a movement to make a third party. Or that's why many Democrats have left the Democratic Party and become independents. Yeah. And some of the Republicans have left the Republican Party. And as a matter of fact, a friend of mine says there is no longer a Republican Party, there's a MAGA Party.
I would have to think. I would think that. Jimmy, going back to, you made a statement that made me think about the Trump administration and what their end game is with tariffs. And I understand the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent stating that due to the tariffs, the U.S. government has taken in at least $500 billion at the time of that conversation. $500 billion. They'll like to see maybe $2 trillion at the end by the midterms. And what the secretary said was that money will not be returned to the American people as rebates, but it will be applied to the deficit and the budget deficit, a $37 trillion deficit. Saying that conservatives have always pushed for smaller and smaller government, they're making cuts where they can in Medicare, Social Security, so forth and so on. Is this a message that will resonate with voters? Will people understand that reducing the deficit is good for the economy, good for Americans?
Let me answer you a question. You left something out about Republicans. You realize that the $500 billion is a tax. You
right.
Call it tariff if you want. Yep. It's a tax.
Yes, it is.
And we're paying it. So
That's
what
correct.
they're saying is we're going to get ourselves out of the deficit by taxing you, not the rich. We're going to tax the middle class and give tax breaks to the rich. Mm-hmm. Is that going to resonate? The average person doesn't give a shit about the deficit. What they care is about the economy, stupid. If I'm paying more taxes, I don't care if the deficit is down $2 trillion. As a matter of fact, it's still $35 trillion and exceed. Okay, mm-hmm. And according to the CBC, the new tax cuts that we just did are going to create another $10 trillion in deficit. So we saved 2, but we have 10 more. So we're still 8 ahead more into deficit. No, you cannot tax your way out of the deficit. And what they're proposing is, hey, you people from your pockets pay for the deficit that we, the rich and the powerful, fucked over and did. Look, realistically, people don't care about the deficit. They really don't. But for when they say, well, wait a minute, I'm paying more for my products. Hey, wait a minute, I'm paying more for my TVs, for my automobile, for my automobile parts, for everything else. I'm paying more. Oh yeah, but we can use that money to pay off the deficit. Is that going to resonate? Yeah, it would resonate, but not in a good way. It will
Jimmy, I
resonate
think
in a way that you're making me pay the taxes to eliminate the deficit that you created. No.
and Jimmy, that's a message that yeah, right there. That this clip right here is a message the Democrats should run with. You just laid it out for them right
I,
there.
I've been doing that week after week.
Yeah.
And they still think, well, we're going to talk about the Epstein file. Who gives a fuck about Epstein?
Oh,
But in fairness, this is how lies really get interesting. When did Epstein become a Democrat hoax? I thought the people who were after the Epstein files are Margaret Green. I thought it was people like the director of the FBI and the subdirector of the FBI. I thought it was people like Pam Bondi. Uh,
right.
yeah, so it's really it's a Democrat thing. Since when? Wow.
Exactly.
But here's where it becomes interesting. This is one thing that we need to discuss. Now that you talk about, there's one thing in Congress right now. They need to create a budget.
That's
This
right.
continuing resolution is dying very soon,
Yep. I
and
agree.
Johnson's going to need the Democrats on board.
Correct.
There's no way he's going to be able to pass the budget without Democrat support. And if he continues to cut spending, he's not going to get any Democrat support, and he's not going to get enough Republicans to vote for it either. So and this is the problem, he's not that smart of a person to rank out this deal, but he does have some people around him that are. So maybe these people can sit down and work out a deal with the Democrats because right now we're close to closing down the government, and that would have some ill effects on this
Yeah,
country. It's
that's
some
right.
severe thing. And right now, it's interesting. There's money for border patrol, but there's no money for people to run the towers in the airports. Just saying. And the reason I'm using it is because they both consider safety. Okay,
Correct.
consider taking the borders as a matter of safety, and being the planes flying correctly is also a matter of safety. So, and for the record, the airs are by law the responsibility of the federal government. It's not private industry. So we have some serious problems in this country, and we're not dealing with them because we are not acting responsible. We're acting completely irresponsible. We're talking about Epstein and not about the Congress dealing with the budget. We're talking about lies that we're going to bring back factories here if we tariffs. That's a lie. That the country pay the tariffs. That's a lie. So basically, we're going to have to think of how to deal with this. Look, I'm going to make it simple for both parties. Republicans, stop lying to the American public. Tell them the truth that there's a deficit and that the only way we're going to be able to give it out is that we're going to tax the middle class because we don't have the cojones to tax the rich. Democrats, look, just show all these things that things are more expensive, that the terrorists are hurting people, that the terrorists are making our food more expensive, that it's making everything more expensive, and that the Republicans want to tax the poor and the middle class and fuck and fuck. And I'm going to say this and protect the rich. Look, when they say, well, and this is the lie that you need to understand, people. Well, if the poor people don't pay taxes, then you're right. They don't pay income taxes. You're right. But tariffs are on products. So if a poor kid wants to eat Cheerios, wants to eat Oreos wants to eat uh, applesauce and other products that are made in other countries, and they become more expensive.
Right.
You have a problem, people. You have a severe problem when you want to go to work and you need to buy tires. Oh, wait a minute. Tires are made in the nearest part are Canada and Mexico, and they're paying a 25% tariff. Guess who's paying that? That's you. You might be poor, but you still need to get to work. And I can continue on going and going and going on. People, and this is where you need to realize tariffs does not benefit the general public. It hurts the general public. But people still think that it's a little sacrifice, but an industry will come back here. That's that. It's not coming back. No. Because the industrials, and this is where, let me explain to you, this is where the truth is. The industrials in China and the industrials in Mexico, Cuba, that are Americans, for the record, okay, they sell the products at the same price. Here, this box of Oreos costs, I just sell for $2, and I'm still selling it for $2. You're paying $3 because of the tariffs. I don't pay the tariffs, so you're not hurting me. What's the incentive?
Right.
Oh, well, products are going to be too expensive. People are not going to buy them. Hey, I don't depend on the U.S. as my only market. I depend on the whole world. So, people, get real. So, let me go to the fuck ups of the week. Let's start this time with the Republicans. This one is kind of big and huge. The tariffs, the insults, and the treating people like they're shit is affecting our safety. The one thing that was told to us, and is true, an alliance between India and its billion people and India and China, that is an alliance that will create a army together that there's no country in the world that can defeat.
Yes.
Let me repeat myself. There's no country in the world that can defeat. Let me say something else. India and China are two nuclear powers.
Right.
Okay? Between both of them, they have more nuclear weapons than we do.
That's very true.
Me seeing Putin, China, and India people working together and creating an alliance put a burn in my stomach that I did not enjoy.
I agree with you.
And that is the fuck up of the week because India was pushed by this idiot called Donald Trump into the arms of the other two countries because one, India's going to have to buy oil. It's going to have to buy it from Russia because it's the nearest supplier. Who are they going to buy it from? Okay, sorry, that's not correct. Okay, so putting a tariff on them because they're buying their oil from China, from Russia, is stupid. But the way that he's treated the Prime Minister of India and the people of India, oh, why are they pissed off with us? Because we're treating them like shit. So that is the fuck up of the week for the Republicans. Now, Democrats, they don't have that scale because they're not in power. Okay, so
Right.
I'm sorry, they're not in power. Their fuck up of the week is much simpler. They have decided to continue the course of ignoring the middle class, ignoring what people are telling them, and still going with the same argument. The Democrats want to prove Albert Einstein was correct in his physics equation that repeating the same act, expecting a different result, is a sign of insanity,
Yeah.
or equals insanity, and physical terms, is true. People, you did steal, you stole two of the last primaries. You're thinking that you're going to steal the third one in 2027, 2028. Good luck. You lucked out because of 2021. 2020, because of the lockdown.
Right.
Nobody went out and voted. That's fine. You have decided to double down on this. There is no change. And those of us who talk about change or say something, you chastise. Let me clarify to you. I'm not criticizing the Democratic Party. I'm criticizing the leadership of the Democratic Party. There's two different things. What the Democratic Party stands for, I believe in firmly. What the leadership is doing is suicide and stupidity. So do not confuse that I'm not a loyal Democrat. I'm not a team player.
Fair enough.
So for those of you in the Democratic Party who still think that way, that's fine. I am here to talk to the people. As a matter of fact, recently I created a map that my party did not enjoy, and they opted to create another map. I understand that, and that is their prerogative. You need to listen to the people. People spoke clearly, and realistically, recently I had a group of people from a local area here who wear yellow T-shirts who came and thanked me for listening to them. So that is my pride and joy. The Democrats don't listen, or the leadership of the Democratic Party doesn't listen. They listen to the consultants, and that's why I've been acting wrong. I'm sorry, David. I know you're a consultant to a certain point.
No offense taken.
Okay, but you know where I'm coming from.
Yes, I do, sir. Loud and clear. Yes, I do.
For those of you who want to understand, consultants, the candidates for president and vice president decided to call the Republicans weird because the word polled well. I don't know if you remember that.
I do.
They decided to call them weird because the word polled well. And they decided to call them fascists because that would help them with the Jewish vote, which they lost for the record. Yes. But that's another thing here for another day. So with that in mind, let me end this with this. People, your problem is not the federal employees. Your problem is not even China, Russia, or India. Your problem is your government not protecting you from China, India, and Russia. Your problem is having a corrupt president, a corrupt House of Representatives, a corrupt Senate. This is going to be the downfall of the United States, when you could buy out somebody for a couple of $1 million and get them to do whatever you want. With that in mind, subscribe. Ding, ding. Very simple. If you don't want to subscribe, listen. And by the way, I'm getting a lot of likes. And that is something that is very true. So something good must be coming out. And even if you want to dislike and go, at least you're listening to me, which makes me happy. So with that in mind, I will see you next week, and enjoy yourselves. But remember this, we're here for each other. Let's work together.
Always.
See you next week.
Have a good one. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe, Jimmy.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye now.